The distant hum of quantum processors filled the research station's central laboratory. Dr. Ravi Patel adjusted his neural interface, his fingers dancing across holographic displays that shimmered with impossible complexity. Outside the massive reinforced windows, Jupiter's moon Europa gleamed like a polished marble, its icy surface hiding secrets that humanity had only begun to comprehend. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched Ravi work, her military-trained eyes scanning the intricate network of sensors and experimental equipment. Something was different today. The usual tension that hung in the air had transformed into something electric, anticipatory. "Talk to me, Ravi," Elena said, her voice cutting through the technological symphony. "What exactly are we looking at?" Dr. Patel's eyes never left the displays. "We've detected quantum entanglement patterns that don't match any known natural or artificial signatures. It's like something is trying to communicate, but not in any language we understand." Nearby, Dr. Konstantin Volkov manipulated a series of cybernetic interfaces, his weathered hands moving with the precision of a surgeon. "The quantum fluctuations are increasing," he muttered, his thick Russian accent coloring each word. "But they're not random. There's a structure here." The research station, Europa Quantum Research Facility, had been humanity's most advanced outpost for exploring the boundaries of quantum communication and interstellar technology. Funded by a consortium of global scientific organizations, it represented humanity's most ambitious attempt to reach beyond traditional understanding of physics and communication. Elena moved closer to the primary display. Her military background had taught her to read patterns, to see what others might miss. "These aren't just random signals," she observed. "They're a pattern, almost like a message." Dr. Patel nodded, his excitement barely contained. "Exactly. But not like any message we've ever encountered. It's as if something is trying to communicate using the fundamental fabric of quantum mechanics itself." Konstantin walked over to a complex array of quantum resonators. "The signal originates from beyond our solar system, but it's not broadcasting. It's probing, testing." The implications hung in the air like a tangible presence. Humanity had long speculated about first contact, about the moment when we would discover we were not alone in the universe. But this was different. This wasn't a radio signal or a distant transmission. This was something that spoke the language of reality itself. "We need to respond," Ravi said, his fingers moving with increasing urgency across the interfaces. "But how do you communicate with something that doesn't understand communication as we know it?" Elena's military training kicked in. "We don't. We listen. We learn." The quantum displays began to pulse with increasing intensity. Complex geometric patterns emerged. Not images, but mathematical constructions that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. They were beautiful. They were terrifying. Konstantin leaned closer. "These aren't just signals. They're instructions." "No, not instructions. They're a kind of invitation." "An invitation to what?" Elena asked, her hand unconsciously moving to the quantum communication device at her belt. Before anyone could answer, the entire research station seemed to vibrate. Not with sound, but with a resonance that existed beyond physical perception. The quantum displays flickered, then stabilized, revealing a pattern that was simultaneously a mathematical equation, a structural blueprint, and something that defied human comprehension. Ravi's voice was barely a whisper. "First contact isn't going to be what we expected. It's going to be something far more profound." Outside, Europa's icy surface reflected the station's lights. Inside, humanity stood on the precipice of understanding something revolutionary, a communication that didn't just cross space, but transcended the very nature of perception itself. The quantum horizon had been breached, and nothing would ever be the same again. 12 days after the quantum signal discovery, the outer solar system defensive perimeter came alive with unprecedented activity. Lieutenant Jamal Thompson stood at the tactical interface of Sentinel Station, his dark eyes scanning a holographic display that seemed to defy conventional understanding. "Confirm status," He called out to Dr. Area Wong, the station's lead xenobiologist, who was frantically analyzing data streams that flickered between multiple dimensional representations. Area's fingers danced across quantum adaptive interfaces. "It's not an invasion in any traditional sense," she reported, her voice a mix of scientific excitement and controlled anxiety. "These quantum signatures are penetrating our defensive networks, but they're not attacking. They're mapping." Commander Derek Rice approached, his tactical uniform crisp despite the hours of continuous monitoring. "Mapping what exactly?" Dr. Wong pulled up a complex, three-dimensional representation that seemed to breathe and shift. "Our technological infrastructure. Our communication networks. But not just in a physical sense. They're understanding our systems at a fundamental quantum level. The Sentinel Station, humanity's most advanced deep space defensive outpost, had been designed to detect and respond to potential extraterrestrial threats. But nothing in its extensive protocols could have prepared it for this method of intrusion." Lieutenant Thompson zoomed in on the quantum signatures. "They're not breaking through our defenses. They're learning how our defenses work. It's like they're studying us, not preparing to attack." Commander Rice wasn't convinced. Years of military strategy had taught him that understanding was often the first step to conquest. Prepared defensive protocols. Full quantum encryption lockdown. Area shook her head. "Traditional encryption won't work. These signatures are adapting faster than we can create defensive measures. They're learning our encryption methods almost instantaneously." The station's quantum communication arrays began to pulse with a rhythmic pattern that seemed to exist between mathematical precision and something resembling a heartbeat. Technology and something more fundamental were communicating in a language humanity was only beginning to comprehend. "Look at this," Area called out, her voice rising with excitement. "The quantum signatures are creating a kind of adaptive map, not just of our technology, but of our communication structures, our decision-making processes." Lieutenant Thompson felt a chill run down his spine. "They're trying to understand how we think." Commander Rice approached the display, his tactical mind working through potential scenarios. "Not just how we think. How we make decisions. How we respond to unknown variables." The quantum signatures continued their silent exploration. They weren't breaking through systems. They were learning the very architecture of human technological and cognitive processes. Each interaction was a learning moment, each quantum pulse a new understanding. Dr. Wong pulled up a series of comparative analyses. "These signatures are unlike anything in our xenobiological databases. They're not just gathering information. They're evolving. With each interaction, they're becoming more complex, more adaptive." Lieutenant Thompson zoomed out on the display. The quantum signatures now covered almost the entire outer solar system defensive network. "They're everywhere," he muttered, "and we didn't even notice until now." Commander Rice made a decision. "Contact Europa Quantum Research Facility. Dr. Patel needs to see this. Whatever is happening, it's beyond a simple first contact scenario." As if in response to the command, the quantum signatures began to pulse with a new rhythm. Not threatening, not aggressive, but profoundly, unmistakably intelligent. Area's voice was a whisper. "They're not invading. They're introducing themselves." Outside the station's reinforced windows, the infinite darkness of space seemed to vibrate with potential. Humanity stood at the threshold of understanding something that would fundamentally change everything they knew about communication, intelligence, and the very nature of existence. The silent invasion continued, and humanity was just beginning to listen. The lunar research complex hummed with an energy that was part technological marvel, part barely contained excitement. Professor Zoran Kozy stood before a massive quantum interface, her fingers tracing holographic projections that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. "We're witnessing something unprecedented," she explained to Admiral Fatima al-Rashid, who watched with a mixture of scientific curiosity and strategic caution. "The quantum signatures aren't just communication. They're a form of collaborative intelligence. Nearby, engineer Marcus Tanaka worked furiously, integrating the quantum data streams into experimental adaptive technology. His workstation was a maze of interfaces that shifted and reconfigured themselves with each passing moment. "It's like they're offering us a blueprint," Marcus said, his voice a blend of wonder and scientific precision. Not of their technology, but of a potential collaborative technological framework. Admiral Al-Rashid studied the displays. Decades of military strategy had taught her to be cautious, but what she was seeing defied traditional understanding of first contact or technological advancement. Professor Nkosi pulled up a series of quantum interaction maps. "These signatures are creating what I can only describe as a technological bridge. They're not invading. They're proposing a form of collaborative evolution." The lunar complex had been humanity's most advanced research facility for adaptive technologies, but nothing in its extensive history could have prepared it for this moment of potential transformation. "Explain that," the admiral demanded, her voice sharp with decades of military precision. Zara's explanation was careful, measured. "Imagine a form of communication that isn't just an exchange of information, but a literal sharing of technological potential. These quantum signatures are introducing a concept of technological symbiosis that goes beyond anything we've conceptualized." Marcus interrupted, his hands moving rapidly across adaptive interfaces. "They're showing us potential technological configurations that solve problems we didn't even know existed. Look at this quantum communication pathway. It could revolutionize everything from medical research to space exploration." The quantum displays began to pulse with increasing complexity. What had started as mysterious signals was now revealing itself as something far more profound. A potential pathway to technological advancement that transcended human limitations. "They're not giving us technology," Professor Nkosi said, her voice filled with realization. "They're showing us how to discover technology. It's the difference between being handed a fish and being taught how to fish, but on a quantum scale." Admiral Al-Rashid watched the displays, her strategic mind working through the implications. "If what you're saying is true, this isn't just a technological exchange. This is a fundamental reimagining of human potential." Marcus pulled up a series of adaptive technological configurations. "Look at these quantum communication pathways. They're solving engineering challenges we've struggled with for decades. Efficient energy transfer, quantum computing limitations, even potential solutions to deep space radiation protection." The lunar complex seemed to vibrate with potential. The quantum signatures were no longer just signals. They were a collaborative intelligence offering humanity a glimpse into technological possibilities that defied current understanding. "They're not conquering," Zara said softly. "They're inviting." Admiral Al-Rashid's strategic mind was already working through the broader implications. "This changes everything. Not just technologically, but how we understand our place in the universe." As if in response, the quantum displays shifted, revealing complex mathematical constructions that were simultaneously a communication, a technological blueprint, and something that existed beyond traditional human comprehension. Marcus looked up, his eyes wide. "They're offering us a key to understanding. Not just their technology, but a fundamental approach to technological evolution." The Lunar Research Complex stood as a testament to human potential. But today, it was becoming something more. A meeting point between human innovation and a form of intelligence that challenged everything humanity thought it knew about communication, technology, and progress. The technological convergence had begun, and humanity was about to take its most significant leap forward. The deep space research vessel Horizon drifted at the edge of known solar boundaries, a testament to human engineering and the culmination of years of quantum research. Dr. Gabriel Santos stood at the primary communication interface, his hands hovering over adaptive quantum arrays that pulsed with an intelligence that seemed to breathe. "We're ready," he called out to Captain Yuki Nakamura, who controlled the vessel's advanced navigation systems. Beside them, Dr. Imani Okoro monitored xenotechnology interfaces that defied conventional understanding. The quantum signatures that had been studying humanity for weeks had reached a critical point. What had begun as a mysterious communication was now transforming into something far more profound. A collaborative intelligence that challenged everything humanity understood about first contact. Captain Nakamura's voice was steady. Quantum resonance at maximum stability. We're receiving the full communication bandwidth. Dr. Okoro watched in amazement as the interfaces began to reconstruct themselves. It's not just a message, she whispered. It's a complete technological dialogue. They're showing us how to understand them, not just what they want to communicate. The Horizon had been specifically designed for this moment, a vessel that could serve as a bridge between human understanding and the quantum intelligence that had been slowly revealing itself. Each system was an adaptive interface, capable of reconfiguring itself in real time to accommodate the most complex communication ever attempted. Dr. Santos pulled up a holographic representation that was part mathematical equation, part living communication. They're offering us more than technology, he explained. They're offering a fundamental reimagining of communication itself. The quantum signatures began to coalesce into a form that was simultaneously a communication, a technological blueprint, and something that existed beyond traditional human comprehension. It was an invitation, not to conflict, not to submission, but to understanding. Captain Nakamura studied the displays. They'd been studying us, not to conquer, but to understand. Dr. Okoro nodded. Our complexity, our adaptability, our ability to solve problems through creativity and collaboration. That's what they find fascinating. The communication continued to unfold. It revealed a perspective on intelligence that was both alien and strangely familiar, a form of communication that saw technological and cognitive evolution as a collaborative process rather than a competitive one. The Humanity Protocol, Dr. Santos said softly, understanding dawning in his eyes. That's what they've been developing. A method of communication that sees intelligence as a shared journey of discovery. The vessel's quantum arrays pulsed with increasing intensity. The communication was reaching its crescendo, a moment of profound connection that would fundamentally change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Captain Nakamura's voice cut through the technological symphony. We're ready to respond. Dr. Okoro looked up, her eyes reflecting the quantum displays that now covered every surface of the Horizon's command center. Not with weapons, not with fear, but with our most fundamental human qualities: curiosity, creativity, the ability to understand and adapt. The quantum signatures began to stabilize, forming a complex network that was simultaneously a communication, a technological framework, and an invitation to a broader understanding of intelligence itself. Dr. Santos smiled. We're not just receiving a message. We're beginning a conversation that could transform everything we know about existence. Outside the vessel's reinforced windows, the infinite darkness of space seemed to vibrate with potential. Humanity had taken its first true step toward understanding that intelligence was not about conquest, but about collaboration. The Humanity Protocol was complete, and a new chapter of universal understanding had begun.